Welcome to part 4, making cast nets. In part 4, what we're going to cover is hanging the lead line. That's the way that it's referred to. We're going to add the lead line to your cast net webbing that you've constructed. There's a few things that needs to happen whenever you make a cast net. Like I said in the first part of the series, I make my cast nets out of number 4 bonded nylon. In this case, what I've done is I've upscaled again in this so that you're able to see more clearly exactly what we need to do. This net right here is actually the 3-foot cast net that I'm going to be hanging, and we're going to put the braille lines on this one. I'm going to show you how to do the braille lines using my mock-up so that you're able to see that more clearly and understand it. I'll be using the cast net to show demonstration on your technique for making sure that your braille lines are done equally and the easiest way to get them to work into the net properly. But I'll show you how to tie the knot, which I use a double or a triple overhand knot to secure the end of the braille line so that it doesn't hang up in the webbing as you're using the net, and it makes it more efficient as far as fishing with it. One of the things that's important whenever you get ready to start, you need to know how long your lead line needs to be. How much cord do you need in order to make your lead line in this fashion? One of the things that you need to do is just take and square up one of your mesh. Make sure that it's nice and square. What we want to do is we want to measure this. Okay, so in measuring this, we find that when it's sitting in a fully open position here, we measure it and we show approximately 1 inch. That 1 inch is what we're going to use for our measurement to calculate how long our lead line needs to be. Okay, at 1 inch, that makes it really, really simple. You can come over here. If you've just made your net, you've got wideners here, you got wideners here. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure, we're going to count these out. And by counting these out, it tells us if this square mesh right here is 1 inch across, then whatever this calculates out to in this configuration will be your 1/12 of your cast net size. So we got 20 hangings from here to here. We have 20 from here to here. So since we have 20, that means that's 20 inches. Okay, if you refer back to the top of the net when we made it, we had 36 initial hangings in the top of our net. We had 36 hangings that we did, and then we went 3, and then we put in a widener. We went 3, we put in a widener. We went 3 more, put in a widener. So out of 36 divided by 3, that's 12. Okay, so we have 12 full panels inside this cast net, and the widener causes it to spread out and become flat and round, even though we know each section is flat. Each section is flat. So when we add the lead line, it's going to make it round. It'll be round when it fishes. So knowing that this is 1 inch and knowing that from here to here there's 20, 12 times 20 is what, 240? Okay, so we're going to need 240 inches. You can divide that by 12 and you can figure out how many feet you need. Don't go to that exact number. Go over that. You know, try to overshoot it by about 10 feet because unless you're doing this with calipers and doing precise work here, you're not going to come out that close. And you need that insurance policy of having a little extra cord in order to do your lead line. So in making the lead line, we've got this cord. This cord measures 3/16. That's what I'm going to use on here. 3/16 lead line, the cord, and I'm going to use a round weight that is just a hair over a 1/2 ounce okay? The hole is just a little bigger than 3/16, so it actually goes in here. This is a really old piece of lead. It's from the 60s. It came off one of those nets that I had purchased. I actually got for $5 at a garage sale, and I'm just using it as a demonstration here because I'm having to drill my other lead, and I just haven't drilled any lead out yet. I'm gonna have to go do that today and try to get that lead line done on this 3-foot net. Anyway, so it doesn't need to be real tight. It doesn't need to be real tight where it fits snugly. Sometimes that's frustrating, but nonetheless, you can still do that. But like I say, this is just a hair over a ½ ounce. This one is about, it's a hair over 3/4 of an ounce. This is the same way, a hair over 3/4 of an ounce, but this is 1 ounce. So let's talk for a second about what if you can't get or make these that are just a little over a ½ ounce. How are we going to calculate this out? Okay, normally what I do is I'll hang 3 mesh between each weight. And so what that means is when this hangs, this is going to be tied here on the lead line, comes around and comes back over to the other side. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do another lead under here. And that's using the ½ ounce lead. Now, if I'm using something that's a little bit more, I'm going to move it to 5 or 6 away if it weighs just a little bit more. We want a good balance. What's the balance? You need a good balance between being able to effectively throw the net and the sink rate of the net. How fast will it sink? Because if you're throwing your net into a few feet of water and you're throwing it on top of a very fast swimming fish, it needs to capture that fish. And that's why you're there. That's what you're doing. Okay, so a longer weight, let's see, because both of these weigh the same. And what we've done is we've spread them out. Let's assume that this is here. And then we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of going 3, we've gone 5 because it's a little bit over. If this is too long, which it would be with this, if we looked at this, this would be too long. So if you look at it, when these mesh square up, it's going to be about 2 of them. So what are we going to do? We're going to pick up 2 of them in here and then come down. And then go to the next one, pick up 2 more, and then come down. So we're not going to tie any of our lashing to the weight itself. We want to put our lashing on the line here, come pick up 2 mesh, and then put the lashing here. And then we're going to continue on. Manufacturing process, if you have any commercially manufactured nets, when you look at them, you'll see that they use some type of sewing machine or some kind of sewing device that actually sews it on there. And I'm going to show you a little later when we start talking about the lead line a little more as far as its efficiency when you're actually using it. Those nets, though, the commercially made nets, because of the way that they're attached to the lead line, if you get that edge of that net hung up on something, it will rip really easy. And I'm sure there's a lot of fishermen, sportsmen out there that know that this is the case with commercially made nets. They can rip up. Sometimes they won't even last you a year, and you've invested money in that. I had said previously that one of these nets to make a nice net, say 4 foot long, with all the hardware and the dipping and everything else, costs you about $30 to make it. And the thing about that is it will last you a lifetime if you take care of that net. I'm going to teach y'all how to make repairs on your nets. I know I've already done in part, what was it, 2B. I showed you how to do on-the-fly repairs. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to take a net that you've had and you've been using, and it's got a problem, how to repair that net, because you want your net to last a lifetime. Because once you start using a handmade net, you're going to fall in love with that. And a commercial made net, they just don't do the trick no more. So anyway. Okay, I'm going to show you how you can secure your lead line to the anchors so that you're able to hang your net on your webbing, on your lead line, without creating any kind of distortion. You don't want to, anytime that you secure this to two anchors with your lead on it, you don't want to pull it tight, because if you pull it tight and you have your lead on there and you put all your tyings in there to lash the net physically to the lead line, if for some reason that cord twists when you're tying your lead line, it's going to be twisted once you take it down from the anchors. It'll be twisted. So you don't want to overextend or overstretch this nylon to make it do that. What I've done is I've cut a couple pieces of cord. You can use anything you want to use. You can even use your number 4 or your number 18. Number 18 is probably the best. Just take this, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually use I don't know, you might call it a climber's knot, a rescuer's knot, something like that. It's called a prushik. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this around this way. We're going to pull it through here. Okay, we're going to go around again. Pull it through again. Okay, and this is pretty much all we need. It's just 2 little wraps there. Get them all dressed up. We want to clean it up so that we can take and we can actually pull. When we pull on this, it's not going to slip. So we can actually tie this part to our anchor. The same thing will apply once you start putting your webbing on here. When you put your webbing on here, now it's going to be hard. If you took this and you just wrap this around your anchor, however you would wrap it, you can't do that later on to that same anchor if you've got webbing all over here. I'm gonna, if I think about it while I'm doing this, I'll shoot a little shot with the video so that you can see that. But by putting this on here and snugging it up, it'll hold it real tight and it won't let go of it. Okay, it doesn't need to be real tight, but you could pull it until this rope breaks, and it's that strong, that lashing right there, that hitch. That's the prushik hitch. Okay, so you want to make two of these little pieces here. Make them long enough so that you got enough twine to be able to tie here, do your prushik around this, and do it around that. Okay, just square up the 2 ends. Go around here. Come around one more time. Okay, snug it up. Make sure dress it up. Make sure it's clean. Okay, and as you pull on it, it's not going to slip. That will not slip. Okay, and that enables you to throw this same lashing, this same hitch in between 2 hangings where you got your net hung on this section, and you're able to do that and pull it without distorting your net, your webbing or anything, and it allows you to grab a hold of that lead line and hold it. And that's why I have 2, because you've got 2 ends of the line as your anchor. Squared up. Just do it like this. So now what you have, dress it up. Now what you have is 2 in opposition here. So they'll actually hold that lead line pretty tight. Okay, for here, what I've done is I've fixed clamps to this box, and I'm going to take and I'll put the prushik here, and I'm going to secure this to here, and then I'm going to come back over here on the other side where I have another clamp in place here, right here, and I'm going to actually secure it to there, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, this is one side where I've secured it to here using the prushik right here. Comes down, and it's secured here as well the same way. Okay, so this way we've got it. It's not overly tight. It's got a little sag in it. I'm sure you can see the little sag there. So there's a little sag there, and because of that sag, I know that it's not very tight. Now, like I say, I've upscaled everything so that it's real simple for you to see it. Now, as you know, we did a measurement on that webbing, and that webbing showed 1 inch for each mesh. Now, these are a little bit longer here. These are a little longer than 1 inch. So it's okay. And what you can do is you can go in here and you can mark exactly where you're tying in on this line. You can mark each and every one, because you're always going to put one here. You're always going to put one here. You notice I don't have any marks there. I do have one here so that I know where I put my lead. But I put small marks, and all of these marks are 1 inch apart so that I know that my hanging is going to be right. Now, if you do enough nets of pretty much the same size webbing and stuff like that, you can pretty much eyeball that, because the human eye has the ability to properly give division in most cases. So as you're doing your net, you can hang it directly on these lines or these markers so that you get it very uniform across the board. Now, whenever I do my other cast net that's actually the correct size, this is upscaled, as I say, these leads will move around, which is okay. I'll do my hangings. I'll be counting my hangings as I'm doing them, and then I'll move a lead into position. Once I've tied it here, I'll move this, snug it up against the hanging, and then I'll put the next hanging in there, and then I'll just continue on and then slide the next one in, and that's the way that'll work out. Okay, so let me get everything set up so that we can actually show you how to do the actual hangings. Okay. What we're going to do, we got our double twine on our needle. We're going to take, okay, one of the things you want to do, wherever you're going to start on your lead line, you want to start on one end and usually leave 6, maybe 8 inches longer this way at your starting point. And what I've done here is I've just put the line here to show you how you're going to start if your lead slides into place. This lead's not crimped on like the other leads are, because those leads are used on shrimp trawls, and they're secured to the lead line the way that these are. They're split, and then they're crimped in with a hammer or a pair of channel lock pliers so that they don't slip or slide on the lead line. Okay, you take this and just hold it here against the line here. Go around once. Go around twice. Okay, same technique we used before. We're going to throw this over like so. We're going to come under here and we're going to slide this over just like so. Okay, so that's how we're going to actually hang it on the net, just like that. Okay, I have my webbing here, and it doesn't matter where you start with your webbing. Go through here. Slide your lead into place. Okay, do the same thing. Go around once. Go around twice. Okay, throw your loop here. Come around this way. It's kind of tough doing this with the camera in a way. I'm not used to that. Okay, so what we're going to do, where the lead is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to snug this all the way up. I'm going to pull it all the way up to the lead here like so, and I'm going to bring it down. So basically right there in that one right there, it's going to show it like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick up our next one. We always want to come from the back side and grab it. And we're going to, if you've marked your line, that's good. But we're going to go about an inch over. We're going to go around once, go around twice. Okay, and you notice this is really long here. I keep it long because I want my needle to be able to fit through there. And then what I'll do is I'll size it up in just a second. So I'm going to bring it to the approximate size that it needs to be, and bring this over and snug it down. So to let you see how these look, this is how they look right there. Okay, Hope you can see that pretty well. Here you can see the webbing is hanging nicely from the lead line because of the appropriate spacing here. What I'll do next is I'll show you what happens when you actually get to the end and you need to connect the other end to this end to close the circle so that you can continue to do your hangings like this. Okay, at this point, we're gonna join these two pieces together. They're the ends where your lead line would finish and then your lead line would be completely done. And we need to join these together. Give them about the same length. If they're a little off, either way, tighter or longer, it's okay. But what we want to do is we want to secure this up so that we can actually hold this in place. So we're going to just basically do some rudimentary, we're going to go ahead and do some rudimentary securing of this so we can go ahead and do our lashings to hang that lead line. This camera is so close so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm just tying it together is all I'm doing. I just keep bumping it because usually when your twine is out, you're usually trying to keep your twine fairly tight so that everything is easy for you to do. Hold everything together. Now I'm going to have to give that a little bit of an adjustment to get it to about the right length. Give it a little measurement here. It's pretty close. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to continue what I'm doing. I want to go ahead and come to the back side of this. It's going to be kind of messy because all this twine and stuff laying around. We're going to come from the back side, pick it up. We're going to come over here, pull this down. It's going to be kind of tough to do, especially when you're new at it. We're going to go around here twice like we've been doing. Same thing, nothing's really changing. One of the things you can do is you can actually go through a lashing process where you actually take and wrap twine all the way around it, you know, this far to this far, and that way you've got a good tight control on that. However you decide to bring these together, completely up to you. But what we want to do is we want to have our hangings correct either way. It's pretty much the hardest part. I'm too close to the camera. That's too long. But I think you're understanding what I'm doing here. This mock-up just makes it kind of hard to do because it's large and bulky. So this is a little bit long. If this was a true net that I'm going to use, it'll come out shorter. It'll come out easier to do. This is pretty much in the same spot where I need to actually hang the next hanging. So I'm going to go ahead and take that apart. But like I say, you can take it off this suspension system here. You can lay it down and do a lashing on it, and then go ahead and just put your hangings over the top of the lashing that you've put on there. So nothing's really changed here. Even though this is really large, you'll still do it the same way. with a smaller cast net and you're using a 3/16 diameter cord for your lead line, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah, see, these are coming out too long because I'm having to fight this large cord, and I'm having to fight the camera in the way and the whole 9 yards. So what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just lash this piece down, because I'm going to lash it down so that I can put my next hanging right there. So basically all I'm going to do is wrap this really tight all the way around here. I can even take and leave that in there so that it secures where I started. It'll give it some additional strength. So we'll just drop that in there, secure it with it. I'm starting to get a lot of twist in there. Get this out, man. I'm right on top of this camera. It's right in my face. That's okay. I guess that's just the price you pay. Put me a half hitch in there on top of that to secure it. Now I can come back over here and pick this up and then just tie it right here. I'm going to try to remain pretty consistent in the way that we do this lashing. I'm almost laying it right on top of the old one, which is okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple more half hitches right here to finalize the end piece here, where I'm actually going to cut the twine. Put me a bunch of half hitches on there. Now, when we turn around and we dip this net, those will be locked in permanently forever till you cut them with a knife or you have to perform a repair. So it might not look real pretty. I know these are way too long. They need to be a lot shorter, like the rest of them. But that's how you're going to bring your net together on the end. It looks real bulky right here, but on a smaller net, it's not near as bad looking. Here's the, this is a 4-foot net. It's 3/16 lines with just a hair over a half inch. I'm sorry, half ounce. It's 0.60 of an ounce. But this is where the two lines come together on this particular net. And what I did is I did a little whipping here and a little whipping there, and then I went ahead and hung the net in there. Now, one thing, if you notice here, there's only 2 hangings between these 2 leads. It's okay, it's no big deal. All the rest of them have the 3 hangings the same way that I did this large one. Every one of them have the 3 hangings. So what I'm doing is trying to get you in the habit of understanding, no matter how large your webbing is, if you do the square measurement on that for the width, when it's really squared out, and you set these hangings at that distance, you're still going to have your lead setting that far apart on the lead line between them. If you hang it 3, if you're using this light of a lead, like I say, if you're using a 3/4 of an ounce lead, you might go to 5. So you'd have five hangings in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would have a lead right here in this section right here. So anyway, that's a junction where the two lines come together. Nothing will hang up. It's all clean and smooth. So I hope you enjoyed that. The next thing we'll be doing is we'll be working on the, braille lines, putting in the braille lines. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.